Alright, so we're gonna do a little sculpting here today. This is the new Frank I'm working on. It's my he's kind of based on my love of the Creature Commandos comic from back in the day, where we're like military versions of Frank and Dracula and a werewolf. So they redid this show of it recently there, which I thought was terrible. It's nothing like the comic. Frank's a big, weird wimp. And in the comics, he was the man. So I'm making my own Frank. And he's going to be an old Frank that's in the army. Or, you know, maybe World War I there. Figure out a backstory. I don't know if I want him being a German in World War I or being kind of more a good guy, so we'll see. Maybe he's the Allies went in there. Well, that's World War II, but maybe the Germans or the Americans. I mean the English, whatever, whoever. Somebody found them. Maybe they found them. That's not the point of the video. The backstory I'm working on. Anyway, here's my rough Frank. So today, what we're gonna do is just some stitches. Some of these here guys, because I got a bunch of them to do on them, and then this guy has got to be completely done up. I mean, there's probably 100 of them that's got to be done on this guy. So, just a little quick video of doing some stitches. And what am I using today? My favorite sculpting medium in the world, Magic Sculpt. Fast, actually. Regular Magic Sculpt, you get about an hour and a half, 2 hours to work. Magic Sculpt Fast, you get about a half hour to work it. But it's just so soft and so creamy and smooth. When I first started out sculpting stuff, I used all kinds of stuff, plasticines, but when I started sculpting actual kits for molding, I was working with Sculpey. And I loved the texture of it, but I hated cooking it. Always had problems cooking it. So I decided to try an epoxy clay. And I tried Magic Sculpt. Magic Sculpt Regular, when I first started using it, I was like, oh God, it's so soft, and you're restricted by time. But that ended up becoming some of its stronger points for me. And then when I tried Magic Sculpt Fast, it's even softer. And at first I'm like, this isn't going to work. But it's grown on me so much that now it's all I want to use. It's all I use for my 31 heads is Magic Sculpt Fast, because in a half hour, I can pick the sculpt up and not have to worry about it being soft, you know? And I can spread this clay. You can see how that's almost fully mixed already. That clay I beta tested, the epoxy clay, took me 15 minutes to fully mix. And then it only has an hour and 15-minute pot life. So that's too quick. This Magic Sculpt is just so smooth and creamy, dude. I adore this clay. It's my favorite clay. And it's great for armatures. It's great for building stuff up. Again, you can see the size ball of clay I'm working with here. I don't sculpt like I used to. I don't just take a big giant ball of clay and work it till it's done. Because of the quick cure time, you got to work in small sections. But that's all right. It causes me to focus on a section, to lay it, to get its basic shaping, to refine it, and to kind of try and polish and finish each little section in a half hour. Now, I always, end up going back, and it may get blended when I work in the area next to it. But it forces me to focus on, like, an eyelid, and not just lay the eyelid in and walk away and then come back later. And, again, I can do that on non-hardening clay, but on this, it really makes me focus on a point until it's right. And in some ways, I think it's helped. It's helped my my sculpting improve. I don't know. It's helped my concentration on things improve, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, enough talking. This clay is mixed. So, let's start blocking in some stitches, or medical staples here, if you will. Alright, let's get a little more light on the scene. Get out some of my favorite tools here. We're going to need a paintbrush for smoothing. And really my wax spatulas. Alright. Let me just break off some little tiny chips here. Figure out what size I want to go with. That might be a little big. Some of these here I'm going to start out with on the chin are tiny little guys, so I don't want to go too nuts. It's a little too much. So I'm going to just lay some of these on where I want them. Very soft, very simple. And then once all of them get laid, I will go back at kind of working. That's a little big. Yeah. So they're very soft. If I'm trying and really mold them now and shape them to the shape I want, it's just gonna flatten right out into the rest of the sculpt. So lay on the basics, just lay the clay there to sit and start firming up. That's a little tiny bit too much. I didn't want these to be too giant. Okay, do one more little one right under the lip. All right, now just like exactly how that one's lying. Okay. Now I did put, when I sculpted the skin there, I did put little dimples in on each side, kind of where the staple should attach. So that'll end up helping sell it once I get these staples pushed down to where they should be. And forgive me if camera angle or lighting isn't great on this. That might be a little better. I'm still trying to figure out the best position to get this GoPro in for filming and the best lighting and all that stuff. So bear with me if it isn't perfect. None of this is a final setup. So I'm going to basically get this a little tiny bit more shaped, and then I'm going to leave it alone so that that can, yeah. I do have to clean that out a tiny bit so that these can start firming up, and I will start laying other ones in. There we go. Okay. All right, yes, that's not too bad. Let's see, I want to do one here where this flesh is ripping open. This can be a little bit bigger one. I need a little more on it. Okay, just get that a little bit of shape in there. All right, now we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. What else did I want to do on him? Debating putting one here on his eyebrow. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, I might not mind that. See that? I'm just about to put my finger in the staples I just did. That stabilizing finger when you're sculpting will almost always try and end up in the soft clay. That's the other thing I like about this epoxy clay, is that once a part of it is hardened, I can put my finger on it for steadying. All my other soft clays I would work with, every time I would do that, I would leave a fingerprint. It would alter that part of the sculpt where I placed my finger. So, I don't know, just the epoxy clay, it just, I don't know, I love it. I love it. Not that I don't, I enjoy sculpting with the nice monster clay. But to me, it's just more restrictive. And again, this is too, in a lot of ways, that, you know, the speed is restrictive. How hard it is once it cures. Although, I've got a lot of tricks. I'll have to do a video on that. I used to just Dremel it, you know, and there's a lot of dust involved. And we got some cats that live in the basement a lot. And it's, you know, I try not to pollute the place with Dremeling so often. So I found some other ways to deal with it. Like, you can just take a little tiny screwdriver and a little plier and like chip a piece that you put on if it's not right without having to Dremel it. You can just like pop it off and it'll come off in the layers that you laid. It's one of the neat things about it. And then I've also found recently the scrape method is I take like an X-Acto knife blade, and this really helps on smooth things. Like thing I want nice and smooth, I can just shave the surface with a razor and get amazing results pretty quick. I've also found that I can do it with little snipper pliers with like sharp, you know, cutters, that I can actually scrape pieces off and chip pieces off pretty nice and easy without having to Dremel. So, anyway. Okay. There we go. Alright. Alright, so this is starting to firm up a little bit already anyway. So, I'm going to go and add this to this. This is going to be his torso. Just do a little quick fill-in work here. So that the clay don't go to waste. And in the process, we're getting this torso set. Okay. Alright, so now, okay, so now this has had some time to start curing a little bit, so we'll go and give it a brushing to smooth it down a little. That's a big thing with me on this, is most people will use water to smooth an epoxy clay, or they will use, you know, isopropyl alcohol. With this Magic Sculpt, it's so soft and it's so receptive to just plain old hand lotion. So it's less toxic than using alcohols, and it lubricates the clay so much better than an alcohol does. Like, an alcohol will start to break the clay down a little bit, so that's why it smooths it. The hand lotion isn't breaking it down at all. It's just lubricating it so much that you can move it with like no effort. Let's do this one. So now I start a rotation of smoothing. and then sharpening with the spatula on these guys so that they get a nice flat. Look, is this a little too close, this light there, a little too bright? Sorry if the lighting ain't good. Yeah, it's starting to firm up just a little. Because again, it's so soft. It's like the consistency of chewed bubble gum when you first start with the fast. And for most people, it's like, oh, this is, I mean, I can remember getting it and being very excited and being like, oh, this is unusable. It's so fast. But it's just a matter of getting used to it. And now I love its softness. So just by doing that and then constantly going back and refining these guys, we can get them to look like nice metal staples. I was also thinking this is going to be like, before I was going to do this guy as a World War I Frank, I was thinking he'd be like the prototype, I would call him. Like, he's not the first Frank, you know? He is the first Frank. He's the prototype. The next Frank, the Frank we all know, is a little more refined. This guy's a test shot. But then I thought, nah, you know what? I like the Creature Commando way better, maybe. Make him really fucking... Oh, excuse me. Pardon my French. I'm so sorry. Make him really beat up because... because he's been in the... You know, he's been in the army. He's been fighting. He's battling. And this is, you know, you figure if this is World War I, he was made in, what, the 1870s, 1880s, Frank. So, at this point, this would be a... you know, a Frankenstein that's been around for 40 years. So, at this point, he don't rely on Dr. Frankenstein no more. He just repairs himself. He's learned what he needs to know and repairs himself. And, you know, maybe the military's got a Frank repair service there because he's such a good asset, you know. They'll bring him in and repair him after each mission. So that's why I've got the more big heavy-duty staples all over them instead of just stitches, because he's kind of like the tank, you know? Plus, maybe he's just got a quick little thing for just jamming and snapping staples on him like they got in the emergency room with that staple gun, you know? So maybe while he's out there, he gets an arm blown off, he just grab it, staple it back on, wire it on quick. I don't know. I'm an idiot. But my brain goes when I'm sculpting. It'll work on a story and the background and the this and the that and the minutiae of the details. I get caught up in the details. So this is why you want to work with very small amounts of Magic Sculpt Fast, so you don't waste it. I wasted so much Magic Sculpt epoxy glaze in my day from overmixing. You learn your lesson. Short, controlled bursts, just like when you're fighting aliens, you know? Okay, let's go check this guy again. Get these edges there so that they really look like it's not just blending into the skin, so it really looks like it's terminating at the skin or puncturing through it, you know. Really quite happy with this. This is one of 3 Franks I got in the works right now. I got a more Bernie Wrightson type of Frank in the works. This one, I'm working on on kind of a tribute piece inspired by the future model's Skullstein. So it's kind of like a biomechanical steampunk Frankenstein skull. He's one of my favorite monsters. Believe me, I love a vampire and a werewolf and a mummy, but there's something about the green ones, that Frank and that mummy, a Frank and that creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, see, and then once it starts to firm up just a little bit, it becomes such a wonderful consistency to Magic Sculpt fast. It's like you get to run a nice spectrum from softer than regular Magic Sculpt to 10 minutes in, it's like the consistency of regular Magic Sculpt. And then after that, in the next 10 minutes, it gets a little bit firmer and it's more like a consistency of Sculpey. I love it. Okay, let's go back to these here. Actually, let's see, it's pretty much shaping. Let's give them another round of smoothing. This guy's got a lot of detail going on him, Frank. He's going to be a lot of fun to paint. And I got to see, too, part of me wants to just finish the neck on this guy and mold him up just as he is. So I can just paint some up as magnets. And then when I get a chance, go back and do the torso for him. We'll see. Because I do want to try and get some of the ghosts done and molded that I just did. I got to remold some other things that molds are getting questionable. So I got a limited amount of mold rubber in house, and I kind of need, there's certain things I got to do with it. So I don't know if this guy is going to get the full body treatment. Yeah, he's definitely going to get it at some point, but I don't know if he's going to wait to get molded until he gets his torso, or if he's going to get molded as a head, and then I'll come back to the torso. Smooth, so easy. This Magic Sculpt fast. So if you watched my beta sculpt video for the other clay, you heard me say a million times, this is Magic Sculpt soft. It's so creamy, it's so fast. Jen was making fun of me saying, it's so creamy, it's so soft. My girl. But it's true. Like Ralphie's little brother's sculpting mashed potatoes at the table. And here I was all excited to get done with sculpting my 31 so I could get back to painting. And I can't stop sculpting. And what I should really be doing is finishing up the 31, but what am I doing here? Starting on a new Frank. I can't help it. It's the same way I do the 31. I am a slave to where my brain is at when I wake. It's very hard for me to work on a sculpt when I wake up if I got something else rattling around in my head, another idea, another thing. That's why I really don't take commissions, because for me to actually have to sit and force myself to work on something is it's a drag. It's too much like real work. Every once in a while I'll do a commission because somebody will get lucky and request something that's already haunting me. So then, yes, if I'm already working on it, I'm already and my brain's already focused on it, and I know I'm going to do a good job and concentrate on it, give it my all, then I will take that commission. But if there's any chance that it's going to drag me down and I'm not going to give it my all because I want to work on something else, I won't take it, because it's not fair to the client, it's not fair to myself. Okay, so once I get these pretty firm and set in their shape, they're still a little bit soft yet. I like to go back and take a ball tool, a little sculpting tool with a tiny ball on the end, and just go over the surface of the thing to kind of give it a little tiniest bit of a concaveness there, maybe, like just a littlest bit. I think it just adds to the... It's a little rough. Sorry, gotta keep checking and seeing that I'm not centered in the screen. My ball was rough. Sorry, it didn't come out right. Yeah, it's so nice to feel the difference, to feel it start firming up. Oh, that again doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound like I'm talking about sculpting here. The guy inside my head that helps lay my words out for me must be a right randy bastard, because everything I say has always got an odd, semi-filthy connotation to it, I feel. I don't know why. I don't do it on purpose. But my brains make me sound that way. Alright, see, we got a little bit of a... Yeah, it's better. So then, yeah, I'm going to take this little tiny guy and just go back in and clean up his edges around each staple. Get them to look like they're going into in their holes that they belong in. That guy a little hard. The nice thing too about this clay is it forces you not to be heavy-handed. And one of my biggest issues in art my whole life, even from drawing and as a kid, was I'm too heavy-handed. I will grind the pencil right through the damn paper, tear right through it. I can't stop making circles. So this is my whole life growing up. I got some sort of I don't know, some sort of condition there that messes with me a little tiny bit, dyslexic or whatever. But when I'm drawing an O, I just can't stop going in a circle. I'm not as bad now, but when I was young, it's terrible. I would make a hole right in the paper doing that. So in high school, my art teacher forced me to draw on damn rice paper to lose that heavy-handedness, and it helped. It definitely helped. Commercials. So that's a good thing about this clay, is it really forces you to have a gentle touch. So when you got big giant Fred Flintstone paws like mine, a gentle touch helps. Because I will break a thing grabbing it just out of excitement. I over grab. Alright, so now we smooth down with the brush those work we just did. Just make it look like it physically resides above the edge of the flesh. And just cheat that by putting a line, but can't have a hollow underneath it or it'll be a mold issue. So we just cheat that down in there to look like the flesh. Give the staple just a little bit of three-dimensionality by giving it just a little bit of a hollow look underneath it. Same thing on this guy. You know what, this guy, we're going to do this one here. Nice. Love these little spatulas. Alright, so there's a little jump cut there, but, excuse me. I wasn't monitoring my battery good enough, and it went Aziz on me. The battery quit, so there you go. So I just did a little tiny bit more smoothing and correcting there, and then that was it. So this is just a little wrap-up that I'm going to tack onto the end of this video here, so you can get an idea of what we did, and maybe I got a little bit better lighting set up now. So, but you can see those staples that I added. I had to go back and do this one on his head here, because after the video was done, I just went to do a little tiny bit of cleanup on it, and it fell off. And it was cured up enough that it wouldn't stay. I even tried Zap-A-Gapping it back on, and it just, I didn't like it, so I had to redo that one. So I did another 10-15 minutes of sculpting on it just to do that. That one on his eyebrow staple there. But that's all right. I'm quite happy with them. I need a little bit of cleanup here and there, and I think I'm going to mold them up. And then I will go back once I have a casting, and I'll do the full torso version that I'm thinking about. But he's too nice a Frank head to have, to not just get him molded up. I am going to have him have a staple neck before he gets molded. So, but there you go. Just a quick little wrap up, so that the video didn't just end abruptly. Thanks again for watching this my new line of tutorial videos here. Again, I'm still new at this, so it's going to take a little bit before I get it all dialed in, lighting right, camera focused, camera placement right, and such. All right, so stick around. Maybe one of the next things I'll do is like a mold box building and then mold making tutorials. I did one of them long, some of the first videos I ever did on YouTube, but time for some new ones. So, thanks for looking. And stay safe out there, eh? Later.